Ben Collins covers disinformation, extremism, and the internet for NBC News, and he joins me now. Ben, it's great to have you on. When you look at something as horrible as the massacre that happened here in Buffalo, people naturally wonder, how could this have been prevented? Both in terms of addressing kind of what fueled that type of hate, and the internet certainly plays a big role in that, but also kind of the specific circumstances of this attack. And I wonder, as you've looked into what was posted online and how he interacted on social media, how did his extremism go unreported? Is it just that he kind of kept it to himself until right before and then shared it so all could see?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So basically, he kept a diary effectively by sending himself messages. In the same way you might email yourself a reminder for something, he would write down every thought he had in a private Discord channel for about 6 months. That included, things about what guns he was supposed to use, but also things about where he was going that day or if he needed a haircut, basic things like that. He used it at the end of the day as maybe a playbook for future mass shooters. You could see that towards the end of his manifesto as well. He wanted people to know not just his motivation, but exactly what worked and what didn't work. The problem is, of course, this was not visible until just before the shooting. And a lot of people who received this, they were people who talked to him on Discord about other stuff, maybe video games or other things like that. So when this popped in their timeline, they didn't know what they were seeing necessarily. They didn't know how to act on it. Of course, some people did know how to act on it. They did, maybe post some video to 4chan or linked to his Twitch account, which was live streaming that shooting. In terms of, can you actually fix this? Can you stop this from happening? Discord and places like that are going to say they are messenger services. It would be like reading people's private emails or private chats. So flagging it in their eyes is not something they want to do. But he was on the radar of law enforcement for this. And taking white nationalist terror, especially ones that are spread on 8chan and 4chan and people who are talking like they are going to, perpetrate a mass shooting, taking that just as seriously as foreign terror, that is a way forward here, I think.
You've reported what you just mentioned on the racist rant that it's believed he posted online. Some call it this manifesto, like 180 pages. And in that, he actually talks about and explains how he became radicalized, referring to 4chan specifically, which you also just mentioned. A lot of people watching right now have never even heard of that. What should we know about those types of forums in the context of this shooting?
Sure. So 4chan has many different forums on it. Some talk about anime, some talk about guns, which is what he initially talked about, but some talk about white nationalism. And what he said when he was 16 at the start of the pandemic, he moved over from the gun forum, which is not inherently an extremist forum, to Poll, which is the politics forum. But their politics forum is essentially just a white nationalist hangout where they talk about white nationalist literature and they do things like, they blame the Jews and immigrants for pretty much all of the world's problems and ills. And that's where he said he got radicalized. And you can see that as well. He took memes that are pretty standard on 4chan, just put them in the middle of the manifesto, didn't rewrite them or anything. He just copied and pasted them and put them in the middle of his manifesto. So 4chan remains the place where people know that they can dump links to their manifestos before mass shootings. They can also dump links to the live stream of their mass shooting, in 8chan as well. That's what happened in El Paso and in Christchurch as well. There is a set playbook for this sort of thing at this point. That's where these people post this stuff because they know they can get away with it at least for a few hours.
The Anti-Defamation League put out a tweet today. I want to read it and kind of get your reaction to it. It says, 5 full days after the Buffalo shooting rampage, our Center on Extremism was still able to find the live stream footage on various online platforms. Sharing this violent footage creates opportunity for others to use the content for nefarious purposes. So that's the tweet. We know the danger that this poses, right? Because the suspect here, it seems, was inspired by the mass shooter in New Zealand from several years ago. He also live streamed his attack. How are these videos still online? And can you talk about the efforts out there to try to better police that type of thing on the internet?
Yeah, there are technological solutions to take down these videos. For example, the reason you don't see the Christchurch shooter's video on the internet that much, it's very hard to find, is because they do this thing called, video or image hashing, where they basically break down the video itself into a bunch of code. And anytime somebody tries to upload anything that looks like that code to the servers of places like Facebook or YouTube, it gets taken down. So this is a failure on Facebook's part. This is they did this initially with ISIS videos, and they can do this technologically. So it's strange it's still happening with this one. Same thing goes for the manifesto, by the way. If you upload the manifesto to, say, Google Drive or Google Docs, it will not allow you to do it. Google will send you an email saying, basically, this instantly, by the way, that this does not jive with their community guidelines. So it is possible to stop this stuff. It's weird that this is happening, frankly, with this specific video. But people are finding ways around that hashing. There are ways to clip it up and reverse it and do other things to make it so it gets past these filters. So it's a huge technological challenge that some people are trying to find a way to get around.
Finally, bigger picture, that specific issue aside, does your reporting give you any confidence that this particular mass shooting will lead to any type of change in terms of dealing with this just incredible amount of hate that's leading to this extremism online?
I frankly don't have any confidence that this is going to stop anytime soon, in part because the structural forces at play here are a lot more immense. This is a hopeless person who was made more hopeless on the internet and then radicalized by his algorithmic filter bubble. So there is no way to stop this. People are actually trying to there are many people who are in the business of trying to make this worse for political or financial gain. And the understanding of this from, a government perspective or even a scientific perspective, we still don't really even know fully how this works in our brains yet. We're very far away. So until people fully understand this is a challenge and depoliticize this thing, we still have a long way to go.
Ben Collins is an NBC News reporter who covers disinformation, extremism, and the internet. We really appreciate you taking some time and joining us.
Thank you.